TMC split deepens in West Bengal as Assembly Speaker recognizes rebel leader Ritubrata Banerjee as leader of the opposition. Opposition chamber keys also handed over to the rebel TMC leader. ED team reaches Abhishek Banerjee's Kalighat residence in connection with primary teacher recruitment scam. TMC leader summoned to appear for questioning on June 15th. DK Shivakumar takes oath as Karnataka Chief Minister in the presence of Governor Gehlot. 14 other ministers take oath at Lok Bhavan in Bengaluru. "21 dead in deadly fire at Lemon Green restaurant. Sources say bed and breakfast establishment was licensed to operate only 6 rooms but was functioning with 26. PM Modi announces ex gratia for victims of Malviya Nagar fire tragedy. 2 lakh compensation for the families of deceased and 50,000 for those injured in incident. The face changed, the locations changed, but the story remains painfully the same. In the last 5 years, Delhi has witnessed a series of devastating fires in factories, hospitals, residential buildings and commercial establishments. Every tragedy has exposed serious questions about safety compliance, illegal operations and enforcement failures. After every disaster, there has been promise of stricter checks, tougher action and comprehensive audits. Yet, another major fire has now claimed more than 20 lives in the national capital. Even as investigators begin piecing together what happened in Malviya Nagar, the larger question is whether Delhi has truly learnt any lesson from its past fire disasters. A major fire at a restaurant and a hotel complex in South Delhi's Malviya Nagar has left 21 people dead and several others injured. 5 officials deployed 10 fire tenders after the blaze was upgraded to make 4 category fire, while rescue teams managed to save dozens of people. Disturbing details are now emerging about the premises, its licensing status and possible safety violations. As authorities investigate the cause of the blaze, questions are mounting over whether negligence played a role in turning a fire into a mass casualty tragedy.
मैं करीब यहाँ से 9:30 बजे करीब जा रहा था, 9 बजे, तो यहाँ पे आग लग रही थी बहुत तेज। उस टाइम पे मैं और मेरे दोस्त जा रहे थे स्कूटी से, उस टाइम पे पूरी आग लग रही थी और हमने यहाँ पे रोक के देखा ना, तो वहाँ से बिल्डिंग से लोग कूद रहे थे। करीब 4-5 लोगों को हमने कूदते हुए देखा था और शीशा तोड़ के वो भी।
मैं जब दुकान के लिए जा रहा था, यहाँ से थोड़ी आग लगी थी पहले, फिर उसके बाद में बढ़ती चली गई। आग बढ़ने के बाद में फिर जैसे यहाँ से कोई रास्ता नहीं था कूदने का, फिर इन्होंने बेचारों ने गद्दे बिछाए। गद्दे बिछाने के बाद में एक तो बच्चे को ही ले रही थी, छोटे से बच्चे को लेके वो 3री मंजिल पे से कूदी, लेकिन उसका पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। जब
मैं जस्ट सो के उठाई था तो मुझे शोर आने लग गया कि आग लगी। तो मैं बाहर जैसे निकल के आया तो इस बिल्डिंग में से धुआं निकल रहा था पहले स्टार्टिंग में, और लोग 1st फ्लोर, 2nd फ्लोर, 3rd फ्लोर से लटक रहे थे कूदने के लिए कि हमें बचा लो, हमें बचा लो, हमें बचा लो, हमें बचा लो। तो और ऐसे कोई एक ही रास्ता था, इसका होटल का कोई दूसरा रास्ता नहीं था, एग्जिट नहीं था, एक ही रास्ता था जहाँ पे आग लगी हुई थी।
शॉर्ट सर्किट से आग लगी है, तारों का जाल बिछा हुआ है, उस चक्कर में आग लगी है। शायद हीटेड होकर के वायर जल गया होगा। उसके बाद जो पड़ोस में होटल है जहाँ 20 से 25 कमरे हैं और सामने चूंकि मैक्स हॉस्पिटल है, जब वो जो वहाँ इलाज कराने लोग आते हैं उसके परिवार यहाँ ठहरते हैं, और शॉर्ट सर्किट से फिर किचन में आग लगी, किचन से फिर पूरे फ्लोर में और पूरे वो ऊपर की मंजिलों में लग गई। सामने जो रजाई गद्दे वाला व्यक्ति बैठता है उसने अपने सारी रजाइयां बिछा दी और ऊपर से लोग कूद के बाहर निकले हैं।
Officials say the exact cause of the fire remain under investigation. However, sources indicate the establishment may have been operating far beyond what was permitted under its license. 6 rooms were legal and 19 other rooms were illegally expanded. And that revelation is now becoming a central focus of the probe. If these allegations are confirmed, investigators will need to determine not only who violated the rules, but also whether regulatory authorities failed to detect or act against those violations.
देखिए 8:50 पे दिल्ली फायर सर्विस को कॉल मिली थी। 8:51 पे गाड़ियों को भेजा गया था। इनिशियली 7 गाड़ी टर्न आउट हुई थी, फिर कॉल्स जैसे ज़्यादा आई हैं तो उसके बाद और गाड़ियां टर्न आउट करी गई हैं। जो हमारी टीम मौके पर पहुंची थी, उन्होंने आते ही 37 लोगों को इस बिल्डिंग से निकाला है, रेस्क्यू किया है, और अभी उनका स्टेटस मेरे पास नहीं है। हम पता कर रहे हैं हॉस्पिटल से कि उनका क्या स्टेटस है।
A closer look at the Delhi's major fire incident reveals recurring theme, whether it was Mundaka, Alipur, Vivek Vihar or Palam investigations repeatedly pointed towards unauthorized operations, poor safety compliance, electrical faults and inadequate emergency preparedness. Malviya Nagar threatens to become yet another chapter in the troubling pattern. The biggest question now goes beyond the fire itself. If the premises was just licensed for 6 rooms, how was it operating 25? Who approved the expansion? And were authorities aware of it? Were inspections conducted? Violations ignored? Questions are also being raised about fire preparedness. Were there enough emergency exits? Was the building fire safety compliant? And crucially, what happened to the fire extinguishers? Were they present, functional and accessible when the fire broke out? Delhi has seen factories burn, hospitals burn, residential buildings burn, commercial establishments burn. The locations change, the victims change, but the allegations remain strikingly similar. The question is simple. After every fire tragedy, authorities promise that lessons have been learned. If that is true, why does Delhi keep witnessing the same disaster over and over again? On this issue, I am joined by Dr. Sudhir Krishna, former Urban Secretary, Government of India, Chairman, Smart Cities Technical Committee, Serafino Kota, social activist and former President, Small and Medium Hotel Associations, R.C. Sharma, former Director, Delhi Fire Services, Dilip Cherian, Brand Guru, Sanjay Sahai, retired IPS officer and activist. But let me first go to Dr. Sudhir Krishna, former Urban Secretary, Government of India. Sir, there are 2 ways to look at this tragedy. One is that a standalone incident, tragic, people died, lack of inspection. And another is to frame it in the context of the way urban India is expanding, growing, and there is no accountability, lack of vigilance. And in past, Delhi has seen also fires in multi-story areas where even fire extinguishers could not reach. So I would like to frame this conversation, not debate, conversation in the context of latter, sir. Are we getting our urban story right or wrong?
No, absolutely. Your question is very pertinent, and because urbanization is not adequately, we have not reached the optimal level of urbanization in India. We are just about 35% urbanized. It is going to very soon, it is going to become 50%. In percentage term, in number term, we are going to have huge ingress of population to the cities. And it is very necessary that cities equip themselves with proper planning and governance systems. So Delhi is a very typical case. Half of the Delhi is in slums, and it is not going to sustain. And here and there people are migrating because agriculture is no longer as much profitable as it used to be before, in spite of the prices going up, but the land holdings are shrinking, and many other factors are there. People are migrating to cities, but this is because of the lack of proper planning, because municipalities and town planning department and development authorities have not equipped themselves to proactively handle the situation. What is happening is people are converting single story building into multiple story buildings. Whether it is small building or big building, everybody is adding floors where the roads are not enough, water infrastructure is not good enough, and safety issues are not there. There are very strict provision on paper, documents, the manuals, codes. Fantastic provisions are there. Nothing will happen, nothing will go wrong. National Building Code provides fire safety arrangements. It's perfect. It is incorporated into the municipal corporation bylaws. But this one case we cannot dissect too much. The entire Delhi is it has umpteen, it is full of such cases. So I think it is a governance issue, and it is high time that municipal corporation gear themselves up and undertake a thorough survey of all the buildings, because residential buildings are being converted into commercial buildings. The whole system is not geared to handle, it is not possible. In a building which is for commercial purpose, more than 15-meter height, there has to be 2 exits and entry, 2 ingress points have to be there, fire systems have to be there, but it is not, because the building was given as residential, converted into commercial. People are closing balconies, they are not allowing, the people cannot jump out safely, they cannot, and they are installing so much of woodwork is there inside the house, electronic systems are there, electrical arrangements are there. So I think it is high time that we think of India as Viksit Bharat, not just in terms of schemes and programs, but governance also.
Okay.
So I would recommend to municipal corporation to strongly take it as a case in point and conduct survey for the whole of the city of Delhi.
Okay. Let me take opening comments from Mr. Cherian. Sir, your opening comments.
Thank you, Kartikeya, and I'm very glad that you are doing a very measured rather than a hysterical program. And Mr. Krishna has mentioned a very important, 2-3 important facts, but of rapid urbanization, inability of the corporations to cope with it, and the need to have more monitoring and regulations. But I think that, honestly speaking, this is an issue of blatant corruption. Corruption which starts at the municipal street level and goes all the way up to the very top. We can talk about rules and regulations, but we've had 24 lift tragedies before they managed to put a notice in every lift which says how many people are allowed in it. What does it cost to have a similar notice outside every building saying how many occupants at any point of time are allowed inside a restaurant or a commercial establishment? It's not rocket science. It is simply corruption from the grassroots all the way leading up to, unfortunately, very high levels. And who is involved in it? The people who are investors in these places. The victims are the people who are the hapless users of these premises. It's not about regulation. As Mr. Krishna said, we have wonderful regulations in place. And the fear is that more regulation just makes it more likely that the rule enforcers have opportunities to get more bribes. That is the fundamental issue. And Kartikeya, there's no point running away from it. There is no other issue here. It is very simply that.
Okay, let me go across to Mr. R.C. Sharma, former Director, Delhi Fire Services. So, what I have decided to do in the show is to play out those visuals, one made by the agencies, and there is a second set of visuals which have been made by the people themselves. And I've chosen to run those visuals made by people themselves just to demonstrate that, one, it took time for the fire tender services to come there. Secondly, the first evacuation effort was done by the locals themselves. If you look at, they took out mattresses and people were jumping from the second floor. Third, sir, it's now being said that the fire started from the basement of the kitchen. So my question is, so very, very simple. This, which I have realized that it happens in rich colonies, it happens in poor colonies, it happens in residential societies. This alteration of the land use, extension and alteration. This place demonstrates both, sir.
I think this area is for residential area, but the hotels and this restaurant, they also guest houses, they come in the residential category itself when we talk about building bylaws. But then certain rules are to be followed when we are running these as a guest house or a hotel. Now, main thing you're talking about, first thing you said time the fire brigade takes and all that. Yeah. It depends on the distance of the fire station from the nearby place, where the fire has happened, what time they were given the call. So we can see that, find out very well, what time they received the call and how much time it takes for them to come. What is the distance and all that, and road condition, maybe traffic and all that. So that's one issue. I think we can take it separately. But main thing is, the people are dying there. Why they died? Well, they did not die because of they are burnt in fire. They died because they could not get out of the building once the fire was started there. So now this part, that means of escape should be available to the people living there. They should remain unaffected for first few minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, so that if there is a fire at ground level, smoke should not enter the staircase. If you are having a ground floor being run as a restaurant, kitchen, then things are, and you have got internal access to the staircase, then we are bound to have this problem. If the staircase going up was not going through the restaurant, it was coming straight outside, I think people could have come out. There was no reason for that. So when we are building such buildings, occupancies, we are not taking this into account, that how people have to escape in case of a fire. So they are killed by smoke, not by fire. So This arrangement, smoke venting arrangement or smoke, keeping the staircase free of smoke, this part is not taken into account by anybody, builders, or maybe these our architects also, because when we come to fire safety, it is the fire extinguisher, it is the hose reel, or maybe these type of things. So these will, if they are available, even then we should know how to operate it. Was it available? Was it used by somebody? Only the person where the fire starts, maybe ground or basement, he can use it. If they use it in the beginning when there is a fire, they can do something. After just 2 or 3 minutes, when things started becoming big, fire extinguisher has got no role into that. Then you come to with a hose reel or maybe hydrant firefighting system. That is not required for this type of building. So my view is on this is, and second was the basement you mentioned. Use of the basement is known to everybody. It is for storage, not for a restaurant or for a residential accommodation. If it is a residential use, then probably it is has to be air conditioned, number one. Number two, it is counted as FAR or FSI. So that is blatant misuse of that is known to all of us. So here when we talk about deaths of the people, wherever we have seen that people could not get out. You take Mundka incident, you take other incidents, you can take Upar incident. They could not come out because there was smoke into the means of escape, that is staircases. So if we are able to take this as one of the major requirement, then nobody would die. Building may burn after some time, 5-10 minutes. But 5-10 minutes, if the people have got time to escape, that is what is required. And this is not part of the normal fire safety arrangement recommended for these occupancies, because this is to be done only when building is being constructed. When you go and today tell somebody to do it, you can't do it.
Okay. Let me take, I know, I have not gone to Mr. Sanjay Sai, retired IPS officer, so your opening comment, because once we are done with the opening comments, there is a specific section in this conversation, urban villages in Delhi, from Horse Khas to Mundaka, Malviya Nagar. It's a separate section within our conversation, because we will discuss about higher fire risk, higher electric load, extra floors added, and limited safety upgrade issue in these densely occupied pockets. How are they regulated? But that's at a later stage. But your opening comments, sir.
Let's not miss the woods for the trees. The reality of today's existence is that India lacks municipal governance end to end. So municipal governance is basically a bystander to all that dirt and all that is happening in the name of municipal governance. As all the panelists have been talking about, the de jure or the documentation, law, regulatory authorities and governance mechanism is distinctly different or might be diametrically opposite to whatever is happening at the de facto level. I'll not get into the narration of incidents, but if you take from Upahar in 1997 to the current fire tragedy, I think it is exactly the same thing which is getting repeated over and over again. The culprit is not the culprit who is the hotel owner. He is made out to be the culprit. It is a man-made tragedy. It is an open crematorium which is there all around the place in every single building. After this building, there's another building which is the hotel, and the third building also is lemon tree. So it is a case of complete and total collusion where audacity is the name of the game. And the main criminal liability goes with the people who are the regulators. I am not ready to believe that the 6-room B and B sort of a mechanism which is to operate there, which no regulatory agency has seen, that has grown from 6 to 21 rooms with no fire exit, no NOC. So literally what is there on the ground is not documented anywhere in the governmental system. That is being primarily done, that everybody saves his skin when something of this nature of a tragedy happens, when you say this violation, that violation. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi, or whatever is the municipal authority of that particular area, is there no authority above the person who are at the cutting edge level? There is nobody to go and inspect beyond that. And there is nobody to come to the ground to see whether it is 6 rooms or 21 rooms. So literally it is in a state of, and everybody is convinced of the fact from Upahar till today that no government stakeholder, while he turns a blind eye, makes booty out of this whole exercise, and still he will escape. That is the reality of the situation. And every single time some hotel owner or some unidentified fellow, you see the Romeo Lane in Goa, 400 meters, the fire brigade could not enter. I've been talking about this for at least last 10 major accidents, and it is not limited to hotels. You see the Volvo buses catching fire. You see the stampedes happening all around the place. So we have left it to the court. That is where the reality is. Until as people are fixed for the criminal liability, nothing is going to change.
Criminal liability. Mr. Sarifino Kota, your opening comments?
Sir, we have to make, in India, we have to make a responsibility, our culture. Safety should be culture. Anybody who is running a restaurant or a hotel should give, as every panelist has spoken here now, that is a responsibility. A responsibility of a person has to be there. You have to train each and every, not one, each and every staff to use the hose reel or a fire extinguisher. The fire may be at a very beginning.
It has to be functional also. It has to be functional also.
Yeah, it has to be functional, and you have to make it this religiously functional, like your insurance. You shouldn't sleep if your fire extinguisher is not working. You should borrow one from somebody else. That should be our culture. We have to make a film and show to the hotel owner or restaurant owner what is the liability in this case. The thing is that the people who died, they, as one of them said, they have died because it is not their fault at all, and they have not
and
died.
Who have died? These are poor people. They're part of the medical tourism. They didn't come from Anglo-Saxon countries. They're either from CIS or they're from Africa, getting treated in the hospitals there.
Yeah, I read it. Bangladeshi and Algerian are there.
Yes.
And the saddest part is, if somebody could fight the fire at the beginning and alarm them at the beginning, would save a lot. Because see, I was watching one English fire safety film, and they were showing a small fire. They put a panic button across the building, and everybody got saved, and the fire also got closed. Nobody got hurt also. So we are trying to fight ourselves in our own way. Who knows? Somebody must be trying to fight the fire with their own way, which I don't know. Maybe the extinguisher was not there or not working. So somebody has to go so deep in it, and India has to make. See, as I am from Goa, now Goa is slowly entering into the fire NOC culture very aggressively. That's what Goa is doing. But still, then with this, we have to audit ourselves so deep in it. So we have to make fire is a biggest. It should be our culture, like a safety, like your toilet working, extinguisher working, is hose reel working, should be weekly practice whether everything is working. Second thing is, as somebody said already, most of the places are converted into the commercial, from residential to the commercial, by themselves without taking a proper permission. So alterations are most dangerous. There are open balconies being covered across the country by the own will. You can do it for your own personal house, but where you are housing the people, if your occupancy been given by the town and country planning, open balcony, it has to be open balcony.
Yeah.
Two staircase is very important. It need to have across the country. There has to be drill and 2 staircase. So I don't know when we will learn. We as Indian, when we will learn, I don't know. It is very shameful.
There is also one factor which we are really underestimating, and that is climate change. It's not a Delhi of 1930s, 40s, and 50s. It's a place where things are getting warmer, both in day and night.
Roasted.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, this question is to you. We are not even climate prepared. We are not even climate prepared. The cities are getting hotter. The load is more. More people have access to AC. And they are adding extra floors. There are limited safety upgrades. There's a high electric load, and people don't realize it, that they are creating a Dante's hell for themselves.
The inferno which is in Dante's hell is going to come and visit a lot more places unless we recognize that it doesn't matter what the cost is. It doesn't matter what the other second order problems are, but any building which has more than, say, 25 or 30 residents or whatever number, I'm sure the fire department and the urban affairs department will give a number, but any building of that kind must have an external fire escape. This is being done in hyper urban areas like New York and Manhattan. And there is no reason why, in the kind of, and I know you're going to come to that later, but in the kind of urban situation that most Indian cities are in, metropolitan cities, it's a common problem. Please don't think that we are only talking about Delhi here. The problem exists in the crowded lanes of Banaras. It extends to Calcutta. It goes all the way to Goa and elsewhere. You need to now start preparing for an urban situation where you have external fire exits which can be used. And I know that the reason why half the deaths took place are because of smoke, because many doors are kept locked because of security reasons. So we are creating the problems and they are escalating on each other. And that is the real danger. It is very easy to see the solutions. They need to be put in place and they need to be monitored and they need to be visible. You have to say how many people are allowed in a restaurant at any point of time. You have to say where your kitchen can be at any point of time. You need to have staff trained for that at every point of time, including new staff. That should be the first training before collecting tips.
Okay. Dr. Sudhir Krishna, my question is one about the climate preparedness, and the second question to you is residential colonies, the private colonies are just part of it. But if you look at the way there's a huge urban space within Delhi, within NCR, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, as Mr. Charin said, it's completely unplanned. I stay in Noida. I remember when I came here 2 decades ago, the most unplanned space was something called Atta Market. Try getting a fire service there. It's impossible. It's just impossible. You have 5-story to 6-story buildings there. There will be I mean, there has to be a limit to what you can do in those enclosed urban spaces. And there has been no vigilance, there has been no monitoring, there has been no enforcement of law. Everything has been done right in front of my eye. I mean, it's just gone up vertically.
Well, on the issue of climate change, I would say that it is hitting both ways, because we have unseasonal heavy rains. I mean, unexpected heavy rains, short spell of heavy rains, and the flooding comes at, in some part of the year, and then temperature goes up during summer more than normal, and suddenly, and this is coupled with the haphazard vertical growth, and this haphazard vertical growth, which you have said that where these fire tenders cannot go.
Horse Khas, Mundaka. Look at how many. See, all of us must have gone to Horse Khas. It has one of the best restaurants in Delhi. I think more than 50 eateries must be functioning from there, or 80 eateries must be functioning from Horse Khas. It's something in front of us. Go to Atta, little lower end of consumption. Look at how many eateries are there. Sector 104 or Noida. I mean, say every part you have a restaurant. I mean to say we can blame the governance, municipality, but look at the way the people also. There is no, and I'm not ashamed of saying it. People also don't follow the rules.
I think I entirely agree with you. I think earlier Mr. Kota and others have also said that people are covering their balconies, and we have seen on your channel only where covered balcony caused the people to lead the people to die because the fire tender and fire personnel could not access. So that is there. I would also think that the model of fire services, reaching the fire services through fire tenders, I think we may have to take a relook at it. Why? Because we have seen over the last 50 years, if not 75 years, that we are only regularizing unauthorized colonies. And I don't see any positive sign that, we will be escaping that route. So the way, I mean, purely from fire angle, I will say that I think probably we may have some different framework than getting fire tenders there. A new thinking is required. I mean, limited point only. I'm not saying the other points are not valid. All other points are valid, that people must follow the law. That is all correct. And in the high-rise building above 15 meters, there has to be arrangement for fire extinguisher, fire alarm, and so many arrangements are there, and these are not there. So we cannot escape that governance responsibility. The municipality must take this as so many incidents have happened. They must take up a drive to inspect all the buildings. It is not impossible. There are people, people in the private sector. They can be engaged with proper training and grooming to conduct inspection on behalf of the municipality and ensure that. And at the same time, awareness campaign is required among the people also. I think I have.
There's also one more issue. But I'll come to that after. But let me introduce this to you. It's not only about the poor colonies like Gita Colony. It's also about something all of you must have seen in Delhi in last 30 years. Overutilization of space. For example, if you go to Defence Colony, or if you go to any other colony, a rich colony, spaces which should be meant for pedestrians have been taken over. The cars are parked on the road. There is no access if there is a fire there. The fire tender will not be able to move in one of the rich colonies. So it's not also an issue of poorer places or urban villages. It's also a changing landscape which I have witnessed from Lajpat Nagar to Defence Colony to many other areas. Over concretization, over utilization of the space which is not meant to be used. But we'll come to that topic after a short break, sir.
Digital arrest, take what?
They warranted. You are under digital arrest.
Drugs मिले आपके नाम. You are under digital arrest. Cut. Vigilante. Oh, vigilante.
ये है असली अरेस्ट. डिजिटल अरेस्ट इज 100% फेक. इट डजंट एग्जिस्ट. अगर कोई कॉल पे बोले यू आर अंडर डिजिटल अरेस्ट, पॉज, डोंट एक्ट. ऐसे और भी फ्रॉड्स की जानकारी के लिए विजिलेंटी को फॉलो करें.
Amid a fragile ceasefire, stakeholders take on the tough questions.
Was Israel surprised by the asymmetric warfare which Iran started conducting?
Yes, I think it was kind of surprised the level of savagery.
Why has Iran stopped the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz?
So we have to defend ourselves.
Like never before, on point with Kartikeya Sharma, decoding Hormuz, Kharg and the ceasefire.
What is the future of peace in West Asia?
I hope that they got their lesson.
That are supposed to give a chance. We stay ready in case it doesn't work.
Every war has a political objective.
The voices that matter only on News 9.
Welcome back. We were discussing why the fire took place, who is responsible, what needs to be done, do we need more rules or do we need more enforcement? But before I go back to my panelists, let me take you through one of the ground reports from the place where the fire took place. Our reporter Vipin Chaubey was there.
देश की राजधानी है और इस राजधानी में बहुत सारे ऐसे काम होते हैं जिसको लेकर देश के अलग अलग इलाकों से लोग आते हैं, जिसमें एक स्वास्थ्य सुविधा बड़ा मामला है. दिल्ली के मैक्स हॉस्पिटल के बाहर मालवीय नगर में जहां पर आग लगी है, ये वही गली है और इसी गली में इस तरह के तमाम दर्जनों होटल हैं जो भगवान भरोसे चल रहे हैं. एक होटल में आग लगी, 21 लोग मारे गए और ऐसे दर्जनों होटल अभी भी हैं. लेकिन होटलों की हालत क्या है, परमिशन है कि नहीं है उनके पास, और किस हालत में कमरे बनाकर भगवान भरोसे लोगों को छोड़ दिया जाता है, वो दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं. ये देखिए, ये ग्रीन रेजिडेंसी होटल है. इसी तरह का होटल यहां पर आप देखेंगे. इस तरह से यहां पर रिसेप्शन है और इस तरह से कमरे बनाए गए हैं. क्या हालत है जरा वो हम आपको दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं. यहां पर आइए, आप देख सकते हैं यहां पे ये इनका रिसेप्शन है. इसी तरह का होटल वो भी था जहां पर आग लगी. जहां पर आग लगी है वहां से बमुश्किल हम लोग 100 मीटर दूर खड़े हैं. ये उसका रिसेप्शन एरिया है. रूम्स के लिए किधर जाएंगे, सामने से अगर दिखाना चाहें तो आइए. कैसे कमरे बने होते हैं इस तरह के होटल्स में, जरा वो हम आपको दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं. ये देखिए, इस तरफ देखिए, ये देखिए, ये होटल है. और अगर सोचिए इतना पतला, ये होटल का जो पूरा चौड़ाई है ये लगभग 15 फीट है. अब देखिए, हम उसी गली में जहां मालवीय नगर के फ्लोरेस स्टे में आग लगी है, एक होटल का मॉडल दिखाने के लिए आपको लाए हैं. ये भी होटल है. पता नहीं भगवान जाने इसकी परमिशन है कि नहीं है, लेकिन सीढ़ियां आपको नजर आएंगी, लिफ्ट आपको नजर आएगा. ये सकरी सी गली नजर आएगी. अब ये देखिए, इस सकरी सी गली में एक कमरा, यहां पर देखिए, आते जाइए, मेरे कैमरा पर्सन हरीश आपको दिखाएंगे. 2 कमरा, 3 कमरा, यहां पर सीसीटीवी लगा है, वाईफाई लगा है. लेकिन अगर फर्ज कर लीजिए कि यहां पर आग लग जाए, इस गैलरी में
So our reporter was basically trying to create an analogy as to how these hotels have been built in restricted areas, and how he was basically trying to compare the one which got burnt with the hotels which have been hotels and the other facilities that have come up in the same area. I'm also joined by Dr. P.S. Rana, Chairman, Construction Industry Development Council. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. Your opening comments on the fire that claimed 21 lives in Malviya Nagar, sir.
You know, our main issue is the supply of commercial properties in the city. You know, we in the planned areas, it is so much inadequate that all villages have practically a ghetto for the commercial activity. I think that is the first planning issue which we are ignoring. If the commercial properties are not constrained in the developed areas or the planned areas, and they are, I would say they should be even, if not cheaper, at least not more than residential areas, the cost of rent or construction of the commercial properties. Then this, all the urban villages, which are becoming a biggest slum for this region, can be controlled. That is number one. Number two, we have bylaws, but we don't enforce them. And there is no way how this can be controlled unless our planning is made very simple. And I would even call it, even if it is the cost-free approvals are given, so that nobody is denied the approval or nobody feel that approval is difficult. Because now, if you don't get the approval, people will go construct unauthorizedly. So there is no monitoring and no enforcement. I think the basic things we have to see at the macro level, and all the bylaws and planning rules have to be enforced strictly.
Okay. Mr. Sahay, you also spoke about enforcement. India is not a thinly populated country. I mean, so let's get down to the facts. It's a very densely populated country. I mean, so there are lakhs and lakhs of people who come. There are places which they can afford. There are places which they cannot afford. And in this city, you require a fan, a water connection, something to make you, so that you can at least have a comfortable night. How do you regulate that? I mean, say if you, for example, go to these urban areas, for example, my office is in sector 125. So part of this Noida is very well developed. But there are a lot of semi-urban pockets. Most of the people who come from outside, young journalists, they stay in these urban villages because the rest of the area is unaffordable. They can't be staying in JP or they can't be staying in those expensive flats, ATS. Where do they stay? They stay in these urban villages. Affordable, cheap, less regulation, नीचे दुकान भी है, खाने की भी दुकान है, खरीदने की भी दुकान है. You can stay upstairs also. So we also have to look at the way. Yes, sir.
It is not a question of less regulation, and that does not mean anything. It does not cut ice. If the municipal governance of Delhi or Bombay or whichever the place may be, if they have decided that something would be low-end areas and the rules of the game will be different from the rules of the game for the high posh areas or whatever. The reality of the matter is that the laws are being flouted in nearly the same manner in rich, poor and every single place. Yes. And there is a total collusion of municipal governance with all these stakeholders. And what Mr. Cherian was talking about, it is at the end of the day a fast buck which is to be made by each and every one of these guys. Let the government accept the fact.
No, I don't disagree with Mr. Cherian. I think he made a very good point that in modern India, civic governance has become a big issue. I completely agree with him. I was just trying to say that there is also another reality, which is our population.
No, I'm coming to the reality. But the point is, if there is another reality, we will not run away from governance, right? If the power that we have decided that there should be no governance in this country, we have nearly reached that state. From exams to urban local bodies to literally anything and everything. So if we are ready to take that point of view, that there will be low-end areas where everything will be allowed to happen.
No, I'm not taking that view. No, you got me wrong. I'm not taking that view. I was bringing your attention to another facet of urban India. It's not uniform.
No, that facet is there. That facet is a reality. And urban migration is nothing new for last 2 years or 3 years. Now you have been talking about Delhi. I came to Delhi in 1982. And from New Delhi railway station, if I remember correctly, I went to a place which was known as the Chaudhary Tourist Lodge in Paharganj. Okay, so I'll not get into the niceties of all that. So these are realities of our existence. Nonetheless, if the government starts accepting the de facto existence and does not do anything about it, so end to end, it will crack, it will creak, and there will be nothing
Let
for
me
us to
reframe the
escape.
question, sir. What should be done? You tell me. More teeth to the municipal officers?
No,
Should I?
I'll just finish with that. First and
Should I
foremost is
let him complete. Yeah.
I'll just.
No, Mr. Sai, you complete first. Then I'll go to Mr. Rana.
First and foremost is accountability. You are tasked with a job, you attend to that job, and your bosses will certify whether that job has been done or not. Number one. Number two, there are no inspections happening. Number three, if these accidents don't happen, then everything is supposed to be hunky-dory. Number five, when this happens, there is clear-cut criminal liability. It is culpable homicide not amounting to murder for that particular person who has not given permission or who has not enforced the thing. If a 5-6 story room structure turns out to be 21-story room structure and no regulatory agency can see anything whatsoever, I think God only can save us. So there are standard protocols. It has to happen. All those protocols, all of us know. And that needs to be implemented. And finally, the audacity of doing things which are wrong and the capability and the ecosystem allowing you to get away with it.
Okay. R.C. Sharma, former Director, Delhi Fire Services, is back with us. I thought he has gone away. Thank you, sir. My question is now forward looking. What needs to be done? More laws, better enforcement, more teeth to the municipal officers. How do we do it?
Should
Well,
I
as
come in?
enforcement of the whatever rules and regulations are formed, that is the must. And that's the first thing to do. If we do that, probably these things will not happen because we don't have that much of people staying in an unauthorized area where they do not have any facilities which are otherwise required for this. I would like to say one thing that we have been talking about the unauthorized colonies, congested areas, Sadar Bazaar, Gita Colony, and other things, Padganj. See, there is no solution for that because we don't have regular fire hydrant lines having water 24/7. We cannot take fire engines there. There's a difficulty. Fire brigade cannot reach in time. That's a problem. So what is required to be done? See, what we can do is, we have, I have taken it with the BIS, and they have now recently given a study to one of the MNITs, and they approved the sprinkler system operated by the gravity water tanks. The water tank which is supplying to our toilets and kitchen, same thing can be used with a 500 liters capacity or whatever is there. That's good enough for that. CPVC pipes, and they can bring down the pipes, maybe one of the highest building in a row like Sadar Bazaar, and 5, 6, 7 shops, they can be connected to that. So water is not going to be used. Once it is to be filled in there, that's okay. If there is a fire, this water will start sprinkling onto the place where the fire has taken place, whichever room it has happened. And we have seen in Delhi, wherever this thing was provided, the fire has not gone out of the room where it started, even in our government secretariat, Delhi secretariat building. So we have seen in many places during this experience where this sprinkler system, because it bursts only when temperature is 70 degrees, is 68 at that point, and naturally water will be sprayed only there, and output is 30 or 40 liters per minute. So you don't need 5-10 minutes. If they is able to hold the fire, everybody can get out. So that is for the congested areas. I think when a solution is there, maybe BIS will be having this as an approved solution for that, and maybe coming for these buildings. So far as high-rise buildings are concerned, I don't think Delhi, we didn't have many incidents, and 200-300 incidents have happened throughout the year. Hardly any deaths have taken place because they are meeting all the basic requirements of the firefighting facilities, means of escape. They are approved by the concerned authorities and fire brigade also. Things are provided. Maybe they are maintained or not maintained, but by and large, they are having these things. And we have seen that high-rise buildings, they are not having many incidents. I think hardly 2 or 3 in the last 3-4 years. But many people are dying in the low-rise building, which are out of the purview of this Fire Service Act, less than 15 meter. Residential or whatever we are talking about these facilities.
That's an interesting fact. Okay, that's
Yes.
very interesting point.
Yeah.
That's very interesting point. Mr. Rana, you wanted to come in? Please.
Yes, I would, I think if we go to the fundamentals itself, our planning norms, we don't provide adequately for non-residential activities. We say commercial, not more than 7 years. Industrial, like that, the cities are not equipped to take care of these activities. So the result is that all these villages have become a savior for that and a problem. Because every village in Delhi, Gurgaon or Ghaziabad or nearby, in every metro city, they have become the biggest slums because they are providing the need which we have not provided in our planned areas. And second part, then we keep on increasing the FAR, FSI and all those things, and without taking care of the infrastructure facilities to cope with the demand. As our friend says, that yes, we can do it, but how can you keep on increasing the volume of the activities, and how can you increase the infrastructure in a gradual manner? The infrastructure is provided right in the beginning.
Absolutely.
So, apart from the planning norms, then comes to the control of unauthorized extensions of everything. Initially the residential areas were 2.5 story and they were very good. But now we say 3 story, then 4 stories, and now it comes even the stairs plus 4 plus, and the basement is also used for the living activities. So if that sort of activity, we have don't
Where I
have
live, I have seen 5.5 stories. There are houses in row which are 5.5 stories.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Because simple residential areas, initially they were 2.5 story and that's all. And when you keep on adding without any backup, even see the parking. Fire we have seen because one instance has come. The city's biggest problem is parking and walking. We have no facility to walk along the roads. We have no facility for parking. And even the government buildings, what to talk of private?
Parking, even the rich encroach the pavements. I mean, say generally people would say कि अरे तो यहाँ अपनी वो काट लगा के बैठ गए. But if you go to all these richer colonies, the cars are being parked there. Now the big generators are being kept there. And no one has come from authority to remove them. A former MP who just passed away, I don't want to name him, where I live, he has parked a generator half the size of my studio in his parking lot. Half the size of the studio. It's right there, and a former MP. But let me go across to Dr. Krishna, because you were talking about regulation. So one thing I would like to know from you is, when did and how come these urban villages, residential areas, turned into commercial properties? How did this happen in Delhi?
Actually, unfortunately, as things are...
the best restaurants are in urban villages. The best emporiums are in urban villages. The best antique shops are in urban villages. How did this happen?
Because
they don't provide in the planned areas.
Sir, Dr. Krishna.
The urban villages were generally exempted from various regulations of planning control and planned development.
Because of there were political constituencies?
Actually, there is a history also. Because when the British came to shifted the capital from Calcutta to Delhi, and at that time they had to acquire a lot of land, and this was also agricultural land, and then the villages were there. So at that time they gave some relief to the villages. We call relief or exemption, you can say that, from district regulation. And it so happened that...
Laldora.
Yes, correct. And unfortunately, after the independence also, we continued with those relaxed, treatment given to these urban villages, Laldora areas. And therefore, because of lack of regulation, and they continued to grow more haphazardly. I don't think that we can say that rest of Delhi has grown in an absolutely planned manner. There has been problem in the most of part of Delhi anyway. But these areas, Laldora and the urban villages, they saw more haphazard development, and that is the price we are paying for. Because of lack of regulatory controls, the development was cheaper, so to say. You do not have to pay so much of fees, and so much of approvals were not required. Procedures were simpler. So therefore, people kind of took this route of haphazard development. I think this is a very sad situation, and there is no better time than now to take a resolution. What you are doing here, I think this is a wonderful thing your channel is doing. It is time that all governments take up this, that to review, to conduct an audit, localized audit, not the overall city audit. Now we have got drones. We can do the mapping of the situation. A lot of databases available because of e-governance framework. So we can, and you can integrate these also.
But how do you do that? Okay, let me put it this way. Vasant Kunj, a very well organized colony, Mr. Cherian, very well organized. But in every sector, B1, B2, B3, B4, B10, there's a third floor that has come up, sir. There's a third floor that has come up. Everyone has done construction there, Mr. Cherian. One, all very educated people, service class. It's not as if they have come with different, sensitivities, but you have this rampant misuse of space.
The answer again is very simple.
Should I tell you the...
I'll come to you, Mr. Cherian.
You try and do an unauthorized construction of the smallest kind inside or outside your house, you will have a municipal inspector coming there. The fact is that happens everywhere across the city. But unfortunately, he goes away after taking a bribe.
Yes.
Now, and I think that this is a very short-sighted approach to say that we have to raise the level of civic sense among people. That is not going to happen. It's lovely. It sounds great. It sounds, very nationalistic, but that ain't happening. You've got to increase, as you said just now, whether it's drones, whether it's AI, you need to increase the level of policing, and you need to make sure that it is publicized. These are the errors that have been found in the following buildings. This is the fine that is going to be imposed, and they have to then pay by UPI, and it should be visible to everybody. The MP who has parked his generator in his parking parking area is just as responsible and needs to be hauled up. And all it needs today, like the videos of citizens that you have shown, is there are people everywhere. Nothing is invisible. You just need to make sure that the crackdown on the officials who are responsible for this is done properly, and there is no escape for the person who is the violator. The violator needs to be pulled up and needs to be fined.
Absolutely. I'm running short of time, but I need to go back to Mr. Serafino Kota. So I'll take the closing comment from you. I'm really sorry I missed out on you after my first question, sir.
Yeah. No. The enforcement is very, very important. Combing operation has to be done and in a very friendly manner, not to make them scared, so that they will run away from the problem. First, to begin with, and very strict combing operation to teach them, and the fire has to be taken seriously. And you need a political will for this, to not to support any political person which is belong to their own party or some other party. You have to. It's something to do with the life. People been roasted like a papad. They got burnt for there's no fault of theirs. So for that, very strict
political will. Yes, that's very important, because Delhi in last 2-3 decades, unauthorized colony was a political issue. People forget when Sheila Dikshit was the chief minister, and it was a tussle between BJP and Congress. I remember that as a cub reporter when I used to cover Delhi government. I thank you all of you for joining me. I've really run short of time. I wish we could have spoken longer, and this is all I had on point 1. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you and good night. Why has Iran stopped the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz?
They want to attack us, they want to target us, so we have to defend ourselves.
They are punishing countries